G'day. How you going? You enjoying yourselves? Yeah, that's good. I got awarded this scholarship. I was very honoured 3 years ago to be at this conference. It was the last conference that was held. And I got awarded the scholarship. We had to come to the conference. And the big announcement, Jarrod Amery, successful business. He must be the most successful guy here. Well, the week prior my arrival to get me award, the bank manager looked me in the eye and said, Jarrod, there's no more working capital for you. So I don't know how you feel today. You might feel like the most successful person here, but if you don't, that's okay. That's okay. Because good things start from small things, hey? And you got to start small to get big. So I just want to encourage you today. I really want to encourage you. If you're feeling great, that's awesome. If you're not feeling awesome, that's okay too. But I'm just so grateful to be alive, and I'm so grateful to have this scholarship. It's an absolute honour and a privilege. It's really amazing. I just want to thank GRDC. Thank you, GRDC, for investing in my life. And thank you for Nuffield. This is an absolutely incredible privilege to have this badge on here today. So thank you so much. Thanks for the selectors that could actually see something in me that I may not have been able to see. I was the year 10 dropout, remember? I was just wanting to be on the farm. I was just wanting to be doing things. And you know, I just want to thank my wife, Emma, and my kids. There's 3 of them here today. And for you new Nuffield Scholar entrants, I just want to encourage you to get your family on board. This is a family thing. It's not a you thing. It's a family thing, and it's really, really important. Doing the journey together. So when I was 11 years old, I was growing up on a farm, my father's farm. He bought his own farm. He said to me at 11 years of age, Jarrod, you'll never inherit my farm. And I was like, well, that's okay. And looking back in history now, I was grateful that he said that, because he put me on the straight and narrow. He taught me how to work hard. And he pretty much said, you got to run your own show. You got to do what you want to do. So I thought, well, I'm going to buy my own farm. That was just what I was going to do. I was going to buy my own farm. So from that day on, I was selling vegetables, chooks, eggs, pigs, anything I can get my hands on. When I turned 14, I'd ride my push bike to the local supermarket, 8 k's up the road, every day from our farm, and ride back. It was 2 days a week I'd work there. And the people where I worked, they referred to me as, I was as tight as a fish's backside. Because I was trying to save every penny I could. No smoking, no drinking. I was just saving to buy my first farm. And today we own 1,640 hectares at Forbes. We lease some country, share crops some country, and we adjust sheep on some country. And so this journey that I've been on has been a journey of learning and a journey of mistakes. Heaps of mistakes. Heaps of painful mistakes. But surprising how little you learn when things are going good. So the goal of my research is for me to grow, but I want to help other people as well. What's the good of just being selfish and keeping all this to yourself? And some of the things that I've learned here today about growing a successful business, I can't include everything there is, but I'm just going to give you the basics of the most important things that I've found in growing our personal business. And it's about what does it take? That is the question. And success, the definition of success is the accomplishment of a goal or a purpose. My question to you is, what does success look like to you? That's a question you've got to ask yourself. And success can mean something different to everybody. And another thing that I've really found really important through my 40 years is that consistency is better than excellence. Consistency over the long haul is better than being excellent for a week or a month or a year. Consistency is really important, and I want to encourage you not to keep up with the Joneses and run your own race. Sometimes we get so distracted by the Joneses red tractor, and we're sitting in our old Chamberlain. Don't panic, just run your own race. If you want to run a business, if it's not running with good cash flow and good operational return, you won't have a business to begin with. Success is not all about money. But in order to have a successful business, you've got to have some money coming in. And so when you're starting from nothing, And every time you buy a new farm, you're back to 30% equity. You've really got to be pushing the boundaries. And I've done a little bit of research. First of all, no, I'll get to that in a second. The average farmer in Australia, mixed farmer, has got a return on their operational return on assets managed of 1.7%. I was talking to Farm Anco. Andrew Fowler put me on to Eric Nankiville, a farm advisor, and he's been really helpful for us. And I said, Eric, over the last 25 years, the AB average is 1.7%. What's your client base? It's 3.79. I said, well, what's your top 25% of clients doing? Well, they're doing 9.36. Now, you got to ask yourself the question, what in the blazes is going on? There's something different here. There's something going on here. What is going on? How can one farm be earning this much and the other guy earning just the average? And I tell you, it's boring being average. It's boring. So here we go. We got the COVID thing, can't fly. Get in the Land Cruiser, let's go for a drive. So I went for a 14,500 k drive around Australia, took Emma and the kids with me. We saw some unbelievable farms and businesses. It was extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. And just recently we got back from the GFP, so we've waited 3 years for this. We went to Singapore, Japan, Denmark, Israel, and the States. I haven't done my personal travel yet, but I'm going to do that. I'll name 2 of the places I went to in Australia. This is Paul McLaughlin. He is one of the biggest legends on Australian soil. Absolutely amazing bloke. He's growing watermelons at Condobolin, growing 1 crop a year. He decides to go 300 kilometres north of Alice Springs, carve a farm out of the desert. He's the only guy there. He's growing watermelons there. He's lifted his production from 50 tonne to the hectare to 85 tonnes to the hectare. And because of the climate, he's growing 2 crops a year instead of 1. Absolutely amazing. And he's growing watermelons when you cannot grow watermelons on the eastern states. On the eastern seaboard, he's growing watermelons when supermarkets are in peak demand for watermelons. And I was like, this is amazing. Absolutely amazing. He sunk some bores and absolutely thriving business out in the middle of nowhere. So fascinating. And I went on and saw Colin Burnett. I'd never met Colin before. Went up to Julia Creek. It's about 80 k's north of Julia Creek. He's farming cattle. And it was so fascinating out on that Downs country. I'd never been out there before. It's really interesting. He said, oh, jump in the ute with me. We'll head out to Etta Plains. Sold about a year ago. I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. So I'm thinking the neighbours is like the neighbours, not a 70k drive. We're driving and driving. The conversation was amazing. We get out there, 30,000 hectares, not a tree in sight. Beautiful self-mulching clays, as flat as a pancake. And Colin's had some earth-moving gear out there, doing some work out there for this particular family that had bought the farm. They got 30,000 hectares, 32,000 megalitres of water out of the Flinders and the Macquarie and the Cloncurry rivers. And this was their first cotton crop. It was like the trial year. Bit of cotton, and they were harvesting it when I was there, and they paid $25 million for this land. And I was thinking to myself, wowzers, this is amazing. This is amazing. $25 million, this is chicken food. Hey, here's the thing. Successful people can almost smell an opportunity. It's got a sniff to it. It's got a smell. But here's the thing. It's the really successful people in agriculture that take action. There's too many fascinated people around. Information without application leads to fascination. And that's what we see in society so often. But information with application leads to a transformation. And if you want to see your business grow and transform, you're going to have to apply some of the things you learn, and it's scary. Went to Japan. Jody and Wayne are the most beautiful people on the planet. They took us to Japan and they shown us a place and it was amazing. I'd never been to Japan. all I think about Second World War, Japan. These people in Japan are beautiful people. We caught up with Shigeo. And Shigeo is an extraordinary bloke. He's got 120 hectares, 110 hectares of wheat. He's growing the wheat and putting it into flour and selling it to bakeries. And he's got into popcorn, 10 hectares of popcorn. And Japan's not the warmest place on the planet, so growing popcorn isn't an easy thing. But here's the gig. I'm gonna go through each of these things at the top of the slides. That successful people often view a problem as an opportunity. They view a problem as an opportunity. And if you can do this, you'll be successful. Shigeo, he's got a problem. December to March, he puts off all his staff. Why? It's minus 25 degrees of snow. Can't go out in the paddock. Shigeo, what am I going to do? He decides to grow popcorn so he can make a little factory in the shed to produce the popcorn to keep his workmen. He's trying to fix a problem. And this is what successful people do really, really well. And successful people view a problem as an opportunity. So just remember that one. If you're fearful of making a mistake, you'll never learn the skills required to enable you to know your limitations. If you stick in the safe lane for too long, you'll be like, I just like comfy. Forget about comfy. Comfy's boring. Successful people become comfortable with being uncomfortable. They start to get a bit comfortable when the bank manager makes that phone call. It's not always a good call, but it sometimes means that you're busting the boundaries. Successful people think beyond others' limits. And successful people are less fearful than most and accept that failure is success in motion. That's really important. Really important. Another thing is curiosity and humility. They go hand in hand. Because in order to be curious and ask the questions, you've got to be humble enough to ask the questions. Because if we're not humble, we'll be too proud to ask the questions to find out the information we need to succeed. Really important. Seems basic, but it's really important. Be prepared to be the goose in the room. 2013 and 14, Shigeo, he's like, you know what? I'm going to grow this popcorn. So he gets the popcorn seeds, puts it in the ground, and Shigeo said that in 2013 and 2014, he speaks reasonably good English, but I can't sort of replicate the way he talks. He said, I was the shittest popcorn in the world. Shittest popcorn grower in the world. And he's trying his hardest, but he's just figured out that the growing season, there's not enough heat units to grow this popcorn in Japan. So he's got a problem. The corn's growing into the frosty time of the year, and he's getting a terrible pop ratio. You know when you put the popcorn in the microwave and there's a heap of corn in the bottom? Well, that's his problem. So he's got the problem, how do I shorten the growing period? So with Shigeo's amazing curiosity, he finds out there's a bloke in Ireland doing something similar. He's decided he's going to go over and have a look at what he's doing. Successful people are curious. Successful people have amazing listening skills. And successful people ask lots of questions. This is one of the coolest things about Nuffield. I absolutely love it. You can ask a question and others ask questions of you. It's really surprising how little you learn when your mouth's moving. Shigeo, off to Ireland, gets the plastic, brings it back, puts the corn in, puts the plastic down. Soil temperature rises by 5 degrees. Bingo! Shortening the growing season of the popcorn. How cool is that? That is just so cool. Associating with those you want to become like is really, really important. Really, really important. You'll never fly like an eagle when you hang around with turkeys. You'll never learn the skills. You'll just be continuing to be the turkey. Mentors, coaches, peer-to-peer learning, gather wisdom and knowledge. This is Shigeo to a T. He's an amazing guy. I got a question for you. You show me your friends and I'll show you your future. That's the power of association. You show me your 5 closest friends and you'll generally be about the average of those 5. Those you hang around, you become like. Shigeo is the only popcorn grower in Japan. What a brave move. Timing and attention to detail. If you want to be successful in agriculture, in life, in business, timing and attention to detail, super important. Shigeo's timing of popcorn sowing, he was showing me this. It's just so important to get that corn in the ground, plastic on, corn up, harvested before the first frost. And if he can do that, his pop ratio is insanely good. It is so good. And in agriculture, about 20% of our time generally produces 80% of our income. That's an interesting thing, eh? You think to yourself, wow, I wonder what 20% of my time's giving me the best bang for my buck. It's a good thing to think about. Shigeo, he heads to the States. He's finally got the popcorn thing happening. But then he's got to buy the packaging plant and all the gear that goes with it. Goes to the States, gets the machinery, and by the way, this is his popcorn, microwave popcorn. The guy who buys the machinery off says he's got to order 1 million bags as a minimum order. He says to me, Jarrod, I was thinking, am I stupid or crazy? Hey, put your hand up if you felt stupid or crazy before. Most people in this room. You'll never get anywhere if you don't have that feeling once in a while. I want to encourage you to build on your natural talents and follow your passions. Really important. Really important. These little popcorns, Shigeo's sold over 3 million of these since 2015. How incredible. It's so inspiring. He's actually currently building his new factory. Now, this one's really important. The younger you are, the less important you think it is. Balanced lifestyle. Don't spend so much time making a living that you forget to make a life. You've got to make a life for yourself and your family. Super important. Look after your physical health, mental health. If you're not healthy, your business won't be healthy. Family, community, and have time off. And this all comes as part of the maintaining a successful business. You can build one, but you don't want to be like fireworks to be boom, up and over. You want it to go for a long time. Long, long time. And this is really important, to have a balanced lifestyle. Shigeo, when I was there, he said, I've just come back from the States with my boy. He's got a young teenage son and he's taking him for a trip over to the States to see how popcorn's grown and have a look at some other farms. He wasn't just doing that, he was having some father-son time. He was having some time out with his boy. I want to encourage you to do that with your kids too. Let's take our families on the journey. It's really important. When I was out in the Northern Territory, I met up with Emma and Adrian Brown from a Mungy station. And Emma said to me, you know, Jarrod, if you play with your kids when they're young, they'll stay with you when you're old. Really important. Let's take our families on the ride. Let's do this thing together. Let's do this Nuffield thing together. Went to a bakery in Japan. Everything in the bakery was made from Shigeo's flour. So inspiring. But I want to encourage you to surround yourself by good people and good staff. Good staff is so important. On my Australian tour, I met up with Jarrod Hines, the director of Delta Ag, and he said 3 things that are really important to me. Good people always pay for themselves. Good people attract good people, and that's culture. You've got to have a good culture in your business. If you don't set the culture will just happen by default, and it may not be good. It's better to have no one than an average one. So get good people on your team. And Emma Brown, once again, from a Mungy station, way out whoop whoop, 2.6 million acres, she said to me, always employ someone smarter than yourself or your business will only ever be what you can make it. It's like, wow. Because you got to remember, I was a shearer once upon a time, just busting it out. But now I've got to surround myself with people that can help me build my business, and hopefully I can help them build theirs. Purpose and vision, this is really, really important. If you don't have a purpose and a vision, there will become a time in your life and you'll wonder why you've spent all this time doing what you're doing. Really important, purpose and vision. I talked about this to Shigeo, and his purpose was, in the Second World War, the Americans bombed his family's potato starch factory. They couldn't land the planes back onto the aircraft carriers without unloading the bombs. And boom, his potato starch factory, his grandparents' potato starch factory, was gone. And if that wasn't bad enough, the Japanese government took the whole farm off them, the whole lot, 1,600 hectares, and gave them 6 hectares back. No payment. So Shigeo's purpose is to restore the farm to its former glory of what it used to be. And he's doing that, and he's really kicking goals. I got some recommendations to consider all pillars of success, all the pillars of success that I've just talked about, which are back on that screen, because we'll naturally focus on the ones that we're really good at. But you know, a chain, if you've pulled a tractor out of a bog recently like I have, the chain will always break at its weakest link. And your business will only ever be as strong as its weakest link. So just surround yourself by people and be aware and be listening to see some of the things in your business that might need to change, some things that you might need to work on. One thing I've got to work on that I discovered on our GFP of going through all these countries, on these insanely successful farms, I'm not too good at knowing my numbers, and I've got to get my numbers better. Our business is going great, but it can be better. I remember sitting on the couch one night watching TV when I was shearing. I was a shearer, and this businesswoman was on the telly, and it was like she, I don't know, was just speaking to me. She said, you know what? If you're not enjoying what you're doing, get the hell out of there. And I was like, that's my ticket out of the shearing shed. So from that time on, I quit shearing and went on hay contracting, and with my goal to pursue buying farms, and that's what I've done. Here's another thing that I've learned in life, is you'll always have more regrets of the things that you never had a go at than the things that you did have a go at, even if you failed at it. As the saying goes, you don't want to die wondering. Give it a go. Might be a white knuckle ride, but it'll be fun. And the last thing I want to finish on, success is enjoying the journey, not just the ride, not just the destination. It's about enjoying the journey, not just the destination. Because here's the thing, we get this goal driven, we got this goal. We get to the goal, and instead of celebrating ourselves getting to the goal, we're looking at the next horizon and the horizons, and we keep moving and moving and moving and moving. Kick back, smell the roses, lay out the picnic rug next to the canola when it's in full flower. Enjoy your family and enjoy your successes, because it's really important. Have a great day.